There we go. Welcome, everyone. This is Kate, and welcome to an hour of miracles, which are just miracle is a shift in perception, and that shift brings you to a deeper love. And that's it. That's the simple. The miracle really does nothing because you really aren't in any other state other than God's mind. So all it does is correct something that seems to have happened. So it's sort of, I was reading the other night, I've been reading a little bit more of the course this week, and just sort of, it's like it's sort of going deeper. Yeah, Dawn says the big switcheroo. Yeah, so this week I wanted to continue on with my talking about special relationships, and I felt guided to read from lesson 76. Yeah, so Dawn's saying instead of identifying with the ego, we identify with the spirit. Yeah, that's really what the miracle is. And forgiveness. So forgiveness is the identifying with the spirit rather than the ego. And the miracle is the outcome where we feel more joy and more peaceful. And our world changes because our world is coming from our mind. It's important to always remember that this world is not set in stone. It's not a world happening to me. It's a world that's coming from me. The cause is in my mind. The cause and the effect are in the same place. And what I'm looking out on can be changed. So seek not to change the world, but change my mind about the world. And Jesus talks about that we'll see the real world. I mean, I actually thought that the world would disappear when I woke because I thought it would just all go to light. But what I saw was a different world. I saw a different world because my perception had changed. And so he says God takes the final step to knowledge. So just after I saw the real world, the knowledge came in. So the final step is where you lose the self, and there's just knowledge, clear knowledge. So the final step, I was just reading this morning, and I put up a Facebook post that I'm not sure I've got it exactly. Let me just read it because it's such an important post, which was the end of the world. Is not its destruction, but its translation into heaven. So this world is it will disappear eventually, in terms of that we won't see it when every single mind has awakened. There'll be no need for it. Why would we need a body that needs food? Why would we need to do anything here when we're the love of God? But while we're still here, he needs us. He's asking us, he needs us to help save the world. And it sounds a funny sort of term that he needs us to save the world, but he says all through the course it's about saving the world, and it's not about going at that. He's not, see, all the terms in the course have to be understood, not from like a religious term. They think you've got to save others. But the thing is, if you see that there's someone that needs to be saved, that they're in their wrong mind and they need saving, then that's your error of judgment. So it's just a different way to understand these teachings. When we come to the Course in Miracles, it's like we just have to be wrong about everything. Now, I'm not sure whether you can hear, I've got couple of little dogs staying with me. Can you hear? Okay. Kevin's taken our dog and one of the dogs for a walk, and the one that's left here is he's quite old, so he's not able to go out for a walk, and so he may just do a little bit of howling. Yeah, he sounds like he's crying. He's just he's sad that he hasn't gone for a walk with the others. But anyway, it's in his best interest not to, because he's not well enough. So yeah, I'm just helping my mum out at the moment. She had to leave quite quickly to go and help someone, and so I went up to her place yesterday and picked up her dogs and brought them back to my place. So where was I? What was I talking about? About the world. Okay, so it's really important to keep telling yourself, yeah, saving the world. Thanks, Dawn. That's good. Yeah, so it's like we do come across these parts of the course, and because we've probably been aware of a religious connotation to saving the world, where when you go to a lot of churches, they'll get you to, you know, you need to save the world, you need to get people to believe in Jesus so they're saved and all that sort of stuff. So along with everything else in the course, we have to come to this teaching without the past. So we have to let go of everything that we've ever learned from all the religious teachings. And so we have to let go of our concept of God. And we have to not bring anything from the past, so we can learn what Jesus is wanting us to learn. So, and it is hard to let go of the past, because you might have had, for like me, you know, 50 years of hearing the same message from the church and thinking that that was what we were meant to be doing. And that's why I really love the Course in Miracles, because Jesus does really help us see that the world doesn't need fixing. It's my perception of the world. And as I change my mind, the world changes. And the reason why he really puts this into proof, his rules for decision. And when he says, you know, I want you to visualize the world or the day you'd like to have, and you will have this very day if you make no decisions by yourself. In what he's saying is that you will have this happy day, this beautiful, gorgeous, peaceful, happy day, when you don't make any decisions on your own, which is with the ego. So when you join with the right mind, the Holy Spirit part of your mind, when you join with the right mind, you are going to perceive the world from the happiness and the love that's in your mind, and it's going to reflect it. So this world is nothing in itself. Everything is neutral. So, for example, if you had two flowers in two vases in front of you, and you liked one more than another, and you really hated one and you really loved the other one, in truth, they are exactly the same. They are just flowers. And even that is a meaning. But for this little analogy, it's just for us to really look and see that everything here is neutral, and I have put all the meaning onto it. So a tree or a flower or a body, all the material, physical things that we look at. And in my mind training, when I first came to the course, I'd been putting a lot of meaning on particular, you know, fashion labels and things like that. And the spirit just works very gently in your mind, and he took away all the meaning of all the particular labels that I had idolized or thought, you know, this label's better. It's you know, if I can be seen with this label bag or this label clothes, then this was part of the special relationships that I've been talking about. So and as I walked past the shops and looked, the spirit was healing my mind of these meanings. And then very interestingly, not long later after that, I read an article where it was shown that all these particular brands of clothing and bags, they're all made in the same factories. And so that's just, it's just the advertising and the so-called celebrities. Now, celebrity is just a body. It's just a body that we have put a meaning on. It's one body that we've picked out, and we've said this, and we've said this body here that's advertising this particular bag. So, you know, someone goes along to the factory and they just pick up a bag and they say, right, this is the one that we're going to sell for $1,000, and all the others will sell for $100. And we're going to pick out a special body that that everyone has a special relationship with, and we're going to put that on TV, and we're going to say that this is, you're going to feel really happy when you get this bag. Now, it's a little bit of material put together to carry stuff. So the practicality of the bag is to carry things. And everything else is the ego's meaning, the whole ego's world. Now, you might want to get that $1,000 bag because you're convinced, the ego's convinced you, the advertising, or the egos here have said, yes, yes, we're all going to save up. So I go to a job that I don't particularly want to do because I believe that when I have that handbag, or when I have that car, or when I have that motorbike, or when I have that boat, or when I have that aeroplane, or when I have the right looking partner, all these are special relationships. It's all about, I'm going to get this thing, and then when I get that thing, I'm somehow going to have the happiness that I'm seeking. So then he says in the course that we go to a job we don't like, to buy things that we don't need. He's telling us very clearly of our special relationships. And why? Because we're convinced by the ego that we just get this thing and you'll be happy. And Jesus is really asking us to stop and really look and say, have I ever been happy from getting this thing? Did I get a handbag? And did when I got this particular handbag that I worked at a job that I didn't like to save up the money to get this thing, to go and buy it because some special body, what we call a celebrity or a film star or an actor or an actress, told me, they were walking around with a big smile on their face, so they could have been very depressed and then done the photo shoot and gone, with this handbag. And in that moment, we think they're happy with that handbag. It's not the happiness within. It must be the handbag. It's got to be this material thing. So it's about the ego's always telling us that when we get something, we're going to be happy. And it's this seek and do not find. Now, if happiness was in that handbag, you would have bought it and you would have needed nothing else. But if you notice in that moment, you get it and you go, oh, this is wonderful. And then the next day you see that same celebrity with another handbag. And you're like, oh my goodness, this one's out of date. Oh, it's not the fashionable one. So it's like what the Buddha said. He says, we got this desire to bring things to us and then the desire to push it away. So the next thing, I can't be seen with last year's handbag. It's just not cool. So I push this thing away. And what we're really noticing is how we want things. We think it's going to give us happiness, and then we push it away. And that's what the Buddha was saying about suffering, is this desire for things, and then, oh my God, I've got to get rid of it. I couldn't possibly be seen with last year's fashion. And so this teaching that I'm giving is about this special relationship with everything. It could be that I have to have a particular car You know, a lot of men, even a lot of women are around, I have to be seen in a type of car that represents my individuality. Well, there's no individuality because we're all one. And if I need to be seen, as I said last week, if we're driving around in a car, and maybe it's a sports car, maybe it's a new car, maybe it's an old car, whatever car it is, it's just a car to get you from A to B. It's a practical thing for you as a miracle worker. That's all it is everything is repurposed for you to be a miracle worker. And what's a miracle worker? Just loving everyone as their Christ self. That's all a miracle worker does. So here I am, I'm being provided with something to get me from A to B. And now if I think that this car represents me, I'm then got an idea that this world is going to give me something that if I'm driving around in a car, and you see a lot of people, they spend a lot of time. I know some of my family members, people and friends that work at really, really jobs that they're not happy with. They're ill. They're going to work to get these things, and they get a car, and it's a very expensive car, and drive it around for a little while or not. Sometimes this particular car is garaged for a lot of the time, and then the next thing, it's like it's not good enough. I need, 3 years later, 2 years later, I need the next best thing. I've got to have that next car. So here I go to another job, another ego's job. So the ego's, I'm a slave to the mind that says my happiness comes from having that car, that next car. So we start to see, and in fact, if I was to awaken and just see the ludicrousy of that I'm a slave to this all, I would sell everything and give it to the poor. I really would. I would share my abundance. I would know that I had everything because I have everything. And if I need a car, it will be given me, and it'll be something from A to B. Just get practical. It will be practical. I've got a car that's very, very practical. In fact, it's amazing how, because it wasn't the car that I would have picked, and it was given to me years and years ago. It's always been just goes and goes and goes. It's like I just call it the workhorse, and it's very practical, and it's cheap to run, and it's got power when I need it, and I just say, Holy Spirit, you pick the car for me, and it's perfect. So we start to see, we take away all the meanings, so our special relationship with all the things. We went right last week, we went right through the body. We started to go to we started to go to the things around us. In other words, I touched on food. I could do a whole couple of hours on food, our special relationship with food. But I'm just feeling at this stage to just touch on a few more things. But in lesson 76, I am under no laws but God's. I'm just going to read a little bit for that because it does tie in with what the Holy Spirit's getting me to talk about. I'm really being asked to bring up these because it's very important on your journey to notice where you are putting your happiness. And it's not you, it's your ego mind that is telling you your happiness lies in this particular thing, in your body, your car, your house. It's all about, so it's really it's your job. I'm pointing, or not me, but the Spirit's bringing through these pointers for you. And all you need to do, you may not feel to do it now because you might be in the middle of undoing something really big in your life, but you may just say, what I'm hearing from Kate, I'm just going to put on the back burner. I might look at that at another time in my path. So these are the things that we just need to have a look and say, where is the ego keeping me still searching outside myself for happiness? We have to go beyond the body identification. So once you, last week when I went through the body stuff, if you heard and you listened, I just want you to listen. So just scan your body and just find where it is that that the ego says there's this part of my body that I need to change for me to feel happy. That's what you need to release. You need to release it. You need to say, I am not a body. I am spirit. I am mind. I'm in the mind of God. And I give this body over to Jesus to use for his holy purposes. And saving the world is doing that, is allowing Jesus to use this body to speak the words and love, and to be the loving kindness and the non-judgmental mind. So when miracle worker sits with others and just holds their hands, holds the space, and allows them to feel this non-judgment attitude from you, that I will not judge you. I know who you are. I see who you are. You are the beautiful, holy Christ. And nothing your body, however your body looks, it's any time you have a thought that something needs to be changed on your body, you are giving it a meaning that it doesn't have. You have to see that only you can do it. And I just encourage you, because that was what the Spirit led me to. All these things I've talked about, I've spent many years looking at. It's been the Holy Spirit has just really been able to cleanse my mind of any meaning. Now, last week I was saying, it's okay to have a preference. Now, you will have some preferences, you can't help it, but it's not to be attached, as I said. Once you're attached to something, it's not a preference. A preference is, yes, I like sugar in my tea, or no, I don't like sugar. But then if I like sugar in my tea and it doesn't come with it, I'm not attached to it. I'm going to drink it gladly and in peace. So it's yes, I do have a preference, but it's held very, very lightly. I remember when David Hoffmeister visited Australia, I said we were going to pick him up, and I said, is there anything you would like? And he said he liked cow's milk. And could I buy a big 2 litre of cow's milk for him for the motel room? He has a preference for that. It wasn't like he wouldn't have been upset had the preference not been there, but that's what he liked. So I'm only bringing that up because it can be this idea that spiritual teachers are beyond any preferences. And during my awakening, I was shown that because what I had previously done to understand how we're all going to have preferences was that I was with another Course in Miracles lady, and we spent 2 months together. She stayed with me, and she kept saying to me, Kate, you can't have any preferences. You've got to go beyond your preferences. And I because I was in my mind training, I kept saying, oh, okay, well, I don't care what this, and I don't care, and I don't, and I was really trying to make myself go beyond any preferences and have no preferences. But what the Spirit brought in was that it doesn't matter, because to have no preference was a preference. You see, you can't get away from, you're going to have when you go and buy your food or go to the shops, it's not the important thing what you buy or what you do with your body. What we're going beyond is the attachment to it, the clinging on to it. I have to have my hair looking like this. I have to have a car like this. I have to have my food prepared like this. I've even been around people that have to have their food grated rather than chopped. You know, this is the intricate thing of how our mind believes that if I have chopped food, it's going to be worse than having it grated. That's the level of how the ego brings in this level of craziness, that I can be affected by how my food is chopped up. You know, and that is something that, you know, our minds can be convinced of, and there's nothing, I'm not saying that's bad, or the person that was in that, they were in a lot of suffering because they really, really were trying to get themselves well from having their food prepared a certain way. They believed that their body would be well by what they ate. And the greatest thing, the thing that I tell everyone that comes and stays here for a retreat, is that food does nothing. If you can really get to this whole thing that food does absolutely nothing to your body, it doesn't make it healthy, it doesn't make it unhealthy. It has nothing in it. You know, it's literally like you're eating nothing. You have to, and I know that's a big jump, but I'm here to give you the truth. I'm not here to sugarcoat it. And so this special relationship, Dawn has just said, could that help me with my coffee addiction? Now, interestingly enough, someone messaged me during the week and said same thing about a coffee addiction, right? You're not actually addicted to the coffee, right? It seems like I can't start my day without it. Right, well, you can start your day without a coffee. You can. It's a meaning that you put on it. Coffee does nothing to you, in truth. Yeah, I've tried to quit so many times. Okay, so what happens is there's a meaning there that I can't. So all it is a coffee. If you like the taste of coffee and you have a coffee, that's all it is. Headaches and being tired, right? So the headaches and being tired come from your judgment. They come from your mind judging you, right? So what I would suggest, Dawn, is just make no meaning. Just look at the coffee and just say, this has no meaning. It's not doing anything to me. So deny the denial of truth. That's what Jesus says to us. We have to deny what we think it's doing to us. We have to deny it. So the denial of truth. So when we say that the truth is that this food isn't doing anything, we have to really, we have to be really, really, really vigilant for our minds. And if you can do this, you have to say, no, Jesus is telling me that I have put a meaning on. I think that I have my coffee, and I think without it I get tired and a headache. So a couple of things. Don't make yourself wrong for what you think is the effect, because there is this whole, what happens is the ego joins in this belief, right? It joins in the belief that if I don't have a coffee, I'm going to get tired and headache. And once that's planted, it becomes a belief, and it sits in the back, and you may not even know that you have that belief, and it's like it sits in the unconscious mind. So what we need to do is we need to, when you drink your coffee, just say, this is flavoured water. It does nothing. It does nothing to me. It literally, it can't affect me. The only effect I can ever have is what I believe, and you can unwind from it. So it's not about making yourself wrong, or it's really just to keep looking at food, eating the food and saying, this is doing nothing. This is not making me healthy. This is not affecting me. This coffee is not perking me up. It's not making me brighter. It's a belief. It's all a belief. They're all beliefs, right? So we can go beyond it. Some people say, oh, this food caused me to have a stomach ache. No, it's a belief. Now, the thing about beliefs is they're so ingrained. We've heard these beliefs for years and years and years, that where they're so ingrained, but they're one problem, one solution. So one solution is the answer, which is the truth, that I can be only ever affected by my thoughts, which are my beliefs. So literally, that's why some people can drink, 10 cups of coffee a day and not be affected, because they don't believe they're affected. So anytime you hear anything about what food does, ignore it. Do not allow yourself to believe it. Don't go. I was at one stage going to become a dietitian many, many years ago, wanted to be a dietitian. I'd studied food and what food did you. And when I got serious about the course, I thought I have to let everything go. And I just said to the Holy Spirit, you clear all my beliefs around food. Because I did believe that the food was causing me to be sick. And with chronic fatigue, I kept hearing this thing about the gut and the flora in the gut and whatever. No, you need to be really clear. You need to say, no, this is what Jesus is telling me in the course. At any time my body is sick or feeling something, it's a belief. And I think I mentioned in the group, my Tuesday group, just before I had the group, I was outside and one of the windows was open, and as I came up I slammed the back of my head into the corner of the open window. And initially there was this pain, and then I just straight away said there is no pain. I just denied the pain, as I can't be in pain because I'm not a body, and it instantly left. And this is the way we have to be. We have to deny the denial of truth. So this is the only way we can be at peace. I can't be. So when Jesus was getting nailed to the cross, he wouldn't have felt the nails go in. We can get to a state of mind where we're beyond the body. The body is neutral. It has no feelings at all. We have to realise that the body actually doesn't feel. It's the mind that gives it a belief that that nail going in would really hurt. So I can't say that I'm at that stage, but I'm working towards it. As I've said in all my talks, I'm working towards constantly going deeper in my mind. So on my journey, I just said, okay, take away all these beliefs around food. So when you drink your coffee, just keep saying, this coffee is not affecting me. I'm only affected by my grievances. And enjoy your coffee. Just enjoy it. If you like the taste, it's flavoured water. Just enjoy it. It cannot affect you unless you believe it can. So if you believe it, it will affect you. And that's why placebos work. So if I gave you decaf coffee without you knowing, you would probably still have the headaches and the tiredness because you wouldn't know. That's why placebo. So it's you giving the meaning. And that's all. So you don't have to give up coffee. You have to give up the belief. And I said the same thing to a friend that emailed me during the week. It's not me saying this is I've just followed what Jesus has been saying because I didn't want to have effects. And now I see that, as I shared a few weeks ago about this, just when Kevin came over here, I had a little pain in my back, and I was like, well, it has to be an ego belief in my mind. And I plucked it out. He says, pluck it out of your mind. So I plucked it out. He's the one in the course. He says, when you get an ego belief, just pluck it out of your mind. So I noticed it. Oh, there was a thought, oh, I'm responsible for Kevin's happiness while he's here. And I was like, no, I'm not. I'm not responsible for anything except my state of mind by joining with the Holy Spirit. It's the only thing I'm responsible for is accepting the atonement for myself and having my goal as peace of mind. So my goal is peace. So I'm not responsible for anyone's happiness. Their mind is, they're responsible for their own happiness because we're doing this to ourselves. Every time I suffer, it's my thoughts, it's my belief, and I'm joining the ego. That's why I'm suffering. So I need to alleviate that suffering. I need to join the Holy Spirit and have him look at it with me and say, okay, let's look at this together. And what does Jesus say in the Course about this? All right, okay, I believe that coffee is making me feel like this, and you know, you've got to be honest. You can't deny that. You just have to be honest. This is what I'm believing, and then put the remedy. And Jesus has said it's called the healing balm. All the teachings are like the healing balm. So you can imagine you've got something that's irritating and upsetting you. So the healing balm is that, you know, just enjoy this flavoured water. It doesn't do anything. It's just a nice taste. And if you can't have it, if the coffee dries up in the world and there's no more coffee, well, just to go on to the next thing. It doesn't matter. They're all the same, actually. They're all the same. So we are going to have little preferences, just to hold them lightly. Don't be attached. Our special relation, if we think we're affected by coffee, we're in a special relationship with it. So a special relationship is when I am affected by anything in the world. That's my special relationship. It's everything. I'm in a special relationship with my legs. If I think they need to be longer or shorter or fatter or thinner, I've got a special relationship. A special relationship with everything, because my mind is seeing it and it's making a meaning, and that's my special relationship. So I'm under no laws but God's. Jesus says, this is lesson 76. We have observed before how many senseless things have seemed to you to be salvation. Now, salvation means happiness here. So all these senseless things, yay, my coffee makes me happy. No, my happiness comes from within. Just this joyful, gorgeous state of being free, of thinking something's going to make me happy. Each has imprisoned you with laws as senseless as of itself. Now, the laws are, these senseless laws are that this coffee can do something to me. That's the senseless law. You are not bound by them, okay, Dawn? You're not bound by them, okay? This is Jesus telling you about your coffee. Yet to understand that this is so, you must first realise, it says salvation, but I'm going to say happiness. Happiness lies not there, okay? So happiness doesn't lie in having a coffee, not having a coffee. While you would seek for it in things that have no meaning, you bind yourself to laws that make no sense. Thus do you seek to prove happiness is where it is not. Okay, so if I think happiness is having a thinner body, or, 3 cups of coffee in the morning, that's what I need to be happy, I'm putting it in senseless things and it's not there. It's not there. Today we were glad you cannot prove it. You can't prove it. For if you could, you would forever seek happiness where it is not, and never find it. The idea for today tells you once again how simple is happiness. Look for it where it waits for you, and there it will be. Look nowhere else, for it is nowhere else. So he's just saying, you don't look for it in the world of form. We've created this idea that something outside of us is going to make us happy. Today we will be glad you cannot prove it. I've read that one. Think of the freedom in the recognition that you are not bound by all the strange and twisted laws you have set up to save you. In other words, save you, make you happy. So all these strange and twisted laws that I need something chopped or grated, or I need, people wanting to sleep on magnets. You've got to realise there's nothing that can affect you except your mind. That's it. So once you get that, once you really understand that, everything else falls away. These are the laws that we've given these laws through our belief. You really think that you would starve unless you have stacks of green paper strips and piles of metal discs. You really think a small round pellet or some fluid pushed into your veins through a sharpened needle will ward off disease and death. You really think you are alone unless another body is with you. It is insanity that thinks these things. And we know the ego is insane. So it's insanity. So he's saying it's, you call them laws and put them under different names in a long catalogue of rituals that have no use and serve no purpose. You think you must obey the laws of medicine, of economics, and of health. See all these laws of health? Protect the body. This is what he's saying. We think that if we protect the body, we will be saved. We will be happy if I protect the body. So what happens is I think that I need to protect my body and then I'll be happy. And then I go searching out in the world for all the things that are going to protect my body. And I think, and then someone's come up with all these laws, big catalogue of rituals. So the ritual is that I need to drink 3 cups of coffee to get my spark. And that spark, you can just get up. There's lots of people that get up without coffee that are full of spark. It's just flavoured water. It has nothing in it. So it is insanity that thinks these things. You call them laws and put them under different names in a long catalogue of ritual, sorry, we've read that. Protect the body and you will be happy. These are not laws but madness. The body is endangered by the mind that hurts itself. So he's really telling us where exactly, why our body is endangered, in other why the body is going to get sick. It's going to get sick by the mind, not by the food, not by not having money, not by it's going to have the mind that hurts itself is a mind full of fear. The body suffers just in order that the mind will fail to see it is the victim of itself. So the ego convinces us that we are affected by the world outside us. And he tells us the body suffering is a mask that the mind holds up to hide what really suffers. So this teaching that the mind is suffering, the body is suffering or is sick or seems to be sick from the mind, from the fear in our mind, this is hidden. I mean, I never knew this until I read the course. It was very hidden in my mind. Unless this was pointed out, I would have thought that the cause of all my suffering was in the world, all the different things in the world. So this is why he wants us, he's helping us, he's helping to help us see, he's pointing out what we're doing and what our beliefs are. And then he's leading us back to how to undo this. He's telling it's madness if we think this. He doesn't he doesn't go gently in this. He's saying 2 things. He says it is insanity that thinks these things. And then the next paragraph, in paragraph 5, these are not laws but madness. So he's telling us we're absolutely insane and mad when we believe these things. So he's not, he's really telling it as it is. It really is. I mean, if you really want to be free of all this madness, we just need to turn to Jesus, and he's giving us this really clear guidance. So the body suffers just in order that the mind will fail to see it is the victim of itself. So the mind is a victim of itself. So the fear in our mind, through joining with the ego, the mind says that I am a body and I am affected. So the ego mind's telling us that we're affected by these things. and we don't see that the belief that we have about it is causing the effect. Like it seems to be, we think it's the food. So when I get my coffee and I think it's causing me to have an effect, he's telling us it's not the coffee, it's the belief behind it. It's the belief that I'm going to, if I stop having this coffee, I'm going to have a headache, so I've got to keep having it. He tells us that our belief, our believing in the belief is so, it's so certain. Because you believe that, Dawn, you have a belief, you seem to have the effect. But it's not coming from the coffee, it's coming the belief that this is what coffee will do to me. So it's the belief that the coffee will do this or not do this. So the belief, that's why we have to understand this. You have to really understand how the placebos work. And that's why, because when people are given a placebo medicine, they believe it and their belief in it. So he's telling us to look at our beliefs. So the belief in what I think this thing's going to do for me is the cause of it. But so if he's giving us like sort of another set of beliefs, I guess you might say, because they're God's laws. So the laws of God is that nothing I eat, or the laws of nutrition, which is all the laws of food, I guess, or medicines and vitamins, vitamin tablets and all that sort of stuff. He's telling us that it does nothing, and it only can seem to if I have a belief. So this teaching, it can take many years to really unwind from all these beliefs, but let's just start putting into practice. Let's change it. So when I have my coffee, it's just like, this is doing nothing to me. If I seem to be affected, I'm just going to say, Holy Spirit, I have these beliefs, you take them. You're telling me that there's nothing in this flavoured water, that it can't do anything to me, and it's only my belief. And I want to be free of this belief. So therefore, you can enjoy your coffee or tea or whatever you want. And that's why even with certain gurus, they can even drink poison, or they can have hallucinative drugs and things and not have any effect, because their belief is so certain that they can't be affected by anything in this world. So this is, if this can be proved, if there's one mind that is unaffected by these things, it's proved. Because the truth is true. If coffee did this, it would do exactly the same thing to every single body that drank coffee. It would have exactly the same effect. So the fact that it changes means that it's not true, and that it's the belief that's causing it. So we go back to the cause, our belief. We undo the belief, and then the effect changes. So how are we going for time? I've got a few more minutes. So I was going to go through a few more different special relationships, but I might do that next week. But I think this is really good to go through lesson 76 and hold in our mind the ideas of the special relationship that we have with these things. So, so the body suffering is a mask the mind holds up to hide what really suffers. It would not understand it is its own enemy, that it attacks itself and wants to die. It is from this your laws would save the body. It is for this you think you are a body. So the laws that we think we have, we think that the ego's made up all these laws here, and we think we're under the effect of these laws. We all think it's about saving the body. But the answer to, the clear answer, the one solution is that I'm not a body. And that's it. That's the answer. I'm not a body. So if I'm not a body, the only effect I could feel is some belief in my mind. There are no laws except the laws of God. This needs repeating over and over until you realise it applies to everything that you have made in opposition to God's will. Your magic has no meaning. Coffee is magic, has no meaning. What it is meant to save does not exist. Only what it is meant to hide will save you. So what it's meant to hide will save you. In other words, when you bring out of hiding what it's doing, it will bring you to the truth. The laws of God can never be replaced. We will devote today to rejoicing that this is so. It is no longer a truth that we would hide. We realise instead it is a truth that keeps us free forever. Magic imprisons. Right, so if you believe that food's doing something to you, have a special relationship with it because you're attached to it, or you're, no, I can't eat that, that makes me feel like this, oh yes, I've got to have this, I've got to eat this, I've got to have these vitamin tablets, I've got to eat this special, drink this special water that's come through some mountain, I can't drink the tap water, and so we're going to, as we get cleared out of these beliefs, we're going to start to see, as to be really surprised by some of the things that we can now eat and now drink that have no effect, because as the beliefs leave, you better eat and drink whatever and no effect. You won't have any effect from them. The body will just be neutral. Magic imprisons, but the laws of God make free. So you're going to be free. The light has come because there are no laws but his. God's laws have nothing to do with the body. He says you're whole and complete. You are mind. You're just the love of God. And we're going beyond the body. So he says you have to repeat over and over, there are no laws except the laws of God. I am not a body, I am free. That's why he has those lessons repeated so many times in A Course in Miracles, because he's shifting us away from constantly trying to fix the body, make the body better. He's just saying, just forget about it. This medicine and food's not doing anything. Now, I'm not saying that it's going to happen overnight, but work towards it. And don't make yourself feel guilty if you're still seemingly having an effect of some food. Just give yourself time. Just say, oh, I've got the rest of my life to do this. You don't have to do it by next week. Just every time you have a cup of coffee, just say to yourself, this is not affecting me. I'm undoing this belief. I'm giving this belief to you, Holy Spirit. Undo it. Give this belief to you. So we might leave it there. Just finish. Lovely to see you, Regina. It's nice to see you, and nice to see everyone here. And it's good, Dawn, too, because Dawn sort of, she said, so Dawn's the host of the Awakening Together show, and she's been sort of typing things, and so we've sort of been having a bit like a conversation, haven't we, Dawn? So it's been really nice, and I think it's actually sometimes can draw me further into really talking to, because whoever's listening to this now it'll be like I'm talking to them. So it sort of feels like the Spirit's put us together to draw this out. So thank you for doing this. I'm happy to do it every week if you like, because it feels really lovely to be more in a conversation about these things. So thanks everyone. I really am deeply grateful for everything you do, Dawn and Regina, and for the other people turning up, and Glenn for your beautiful show, and everyone here that's just really, we're all joined together. We're all here for the one purpose, to help each other. You know, we're all doing this beautiful journey in all our different ways, but it's all the same, and we're just here to be the light. So thank you, and I love you, I bless you, and I honor you. And have a lovely evening. See you next week. Bye-bye.